Welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message, hit the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. And sports is second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 790 of the Trinity Force Podcast. I am your host, as always, N.A. Eric, and tonight we are talking patch 12.23, one of, if not the last, before Season 13 happened. So, yeah, it's a big whole load of changes that are being shipped, ARAM changes, items, some changes that we feel very strongly about. But yeah, we'll get into all that. Before we do, we have John and Fenrir here, as always. How you doing, guys? Fenrir, you go first.
Doing great. I've been a little sick the last few days, but I'm feeling good. Starting today, so.
Okay, that's good. Were you just like, I think it's just the flu or something like that?
I don't know if it was the flu or what. I had a real bad fever Wednesday morning.
Yikes.
I slept for like 15 hours straight. Woke up, I was like covered in sweat.
Damn. Well, we're glad we were starting to feel a bit better. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the upward trend.
That's good. Glad to
Yeah,
hear.
but we'll bush apple, make it all feel better.
Oh, gotta hydrate. Okay, cool. John, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing good. Got as far as like work stuff, I've got I heard back from the last place that I applied to, and I've got my last interview on the 14th
Nice.
next week. So got that, and then also been talking to a few like dentists in town who I'll be working with, one of them. So yep, kind of just been chilling. Other than that, as far as league, I mean, I've been playing a decent bit. I've been really enjoying Graves, Rengar. Been playing ABC. Yeah, I've been liking. I tried the new ARAM. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and we're going to get into what that new ARM is, so no spoilers yet. But glad everything's going well. Yeah, good luck in your interview next week, and yeah, hopefully, we're all sure that everything will work out, but we hope the best for you for everything to work out job-wise.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Cool. Well, this is a long patch, so let's not dilly-dally, gentlemen, because we also want to play some ARMs after this before it's past our bedtimes. So let's get into it. So patch 12.23, there are a bunch of champion changes, a few item changes, 2 quote-unquote adjustments, as well as ARAM changes, some quality of life stuff. It's a whole shitload of stuff. So I'll run through the ARAM changes, and then since both of you have played ARAM already today that it's come, or yeah, since yesterday it came out, we'll talk about how it feels. So first off, they have frost gates, are what they're calling them. So it's the same as the hex gates that are on Summoner's Rift sometimes, depending on the map. Now, frost gates will be present from the beginning of the game and will teleport you directly from your nexus to your outer tower. Once your first tower is destroyed, the frost gate will then link to your team's inhibitor tower, where it will then stay for the remainder of the game, even after that tower is destroyed. So you could use the frost gate to go behind people, and so that's what it is. They're trying to speed up ARAM games and stopping poke wars is what they're saying. They want more action and to be faster paced. So, yep. Falling towers is also something. So now when outer towers are destroyed, they will collapse and leave behind a pile of rubble, which will be treated as new terrain. From what I have seen, correct me if I'm wrong, but this blocks off most or all of the terrain in one direction, right? It just stops it so you can't walk around the tower from both sides, only from one side now. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. So that's what that change is, and that's only the outer tower. That doesn't happen to the inner tower, correct? But blocking the inhibitor.
Yep,
Okay, cool. Just
I
wanted to
think
make sure.
so. Yeah,
Just wanted to make sure I got
from
it
what I
right.
remember.
Okay, cool. Now there's also a brush change. They have the two brushes on the left side are staying the same, but there is going to be a small brush, like a pixel-ish side, in on the right side of the bridge. The brushes between the uh, outer and inhibitor turrets have also increased in size, so they're changing the brushes a little bit, but it wouldn't feel all that different looking wise, is my understanding there. There's also bridge repairs, so the gaps on the bottom side of the bridge have been filled in and are now traversable. So those are those gaps that are now gone on the right side. They're now totally repaired, which is cool. I guess Orn and got his team of engineers to go fix that. Quality of life stuff, players will no longer be able to activate battle boosts within the last 10 seconds of champ select. So, okay. There are also now, allies will now be able to tell which player gifted their team a battle boost. I believe it said that in chat anyways, but maybe it didn't. And then S rank chest visibility, whatever. All players will now be able to see which champions they have not yet received an S rank for ARM and champion select. So now they can see all that. In addition to that, there's some balance adjustments. There's actually it's just one. It's a Heartsteel is getting cut in half for the maximum health gain. It used to be so it was what it is on Summoner's Rift, with 10% of damage dealt being max health gained. Now it's 5% just for ARM. Summoner's Rift is staying the same. So those are all the changes. John, what have you thought of ARAM so far?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I definitely feel like it's faster, uh, which I like. Like I agree. Sometimes I feel like there is like just a lot of poke wars, and then a lot of times where you could just sit there and like farm if you had a team that had a lot of wave clear, you could just scale and then eventually win. But yeah, I definitely feel like it's increased the pace. I like the um debris change, like it has the new terrain,
Yeah,
and the gates is nice, just so there's like less downtime. Like, because I mean that was like, I mean that was just a little like time where there was no action or you're doing anything. So it's nice like an ARAM you're playing for the quick the quick action.
yeah, and I would think that also that these new terrain walls would help champions that interact with walls, because sometimes when you're playing like Vayne or Poppy or Zoe, it wasn't the easiest to be able to use terrain because you basically had to be at one end of the abyss, the howling abyss, or throwing something or doing through a turret, or those little areas that were now repaired, or like the brush wall in mid as well. But have you seen any of those champs at all, either of you, any of the champs that interact with walls? No.
No,
Okay.
uh, I mean I've played like where it's just like nice to play around it. Like if I was playing Graves and it's just easy to go around the train and they're like trapped.
Sure.
But I haven't played with like someone, yeah, like Vayne or Cassante.
Right. Okay. Does
Played against a Mao guy, and it was super annoying.
really
Oh
is
yeah.
it because of the
We're
brush
bushed
the brush
on both
changes, you mean?
sides. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you can't hug that right side
Oh
and like
man.
avoid his
And
stat
it's like,
lines.
yeah, if once you have like the first tower down, it's harder to get away from his R too. Like if you don't have a dash or something.
Yeah, so for those turrets falling, which side do they fall to? Do they fall up or do they fall down, or does it depend on which turret falls?
Random.
I think it's random.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, cool. I would wonder if it counts as an addition to the terrain or a new piece of terrain. I'm just thinking about like a Viego E. Um,
Kiana.
yeah, Kiana too. That also is a good one. Does it block vision on the other side or no?
I don't think so, but
Okay, so
It
I
might
you
think I've
can't.
vary.
only played
Yeah,
a few games.
I'm thinking like camouflage. So if you're like Akshan or Twitch or something or Evelyn, could you stand right behind that until someone turns the corner and then blow them up?
I don't know.
Okay,
Not sure.
that's something that we have to test because it doesn't specifically say in the patch here, and I have not played it nor looked yet. So we'll check that out. But okay, um, Fenrir, do you kind of agree what John said? Anything else that you want to add to the ARAM changes?
No, I'm glad it's a lot more fast paced, and it seems like games get over a little bit faster. So all in all, I'm happy with it.
Sweet. Okay. Cool. So that's ARAM. And now we're going to get into a few item changes. So Sunfire Aegis, or Aegis, if you want to, or I guess if you want to use the AE like the Latin diphthong, you can say Aegis because AE is pronounced as an I sound, but whatever. Just flexing my Latin as a foreign language in college, right there. Anyways, the combined cost is
Carpe
down by
diem.
the combined cost is down by 100. The total gold cost is down by 100 in compensation to that, and it's getting 100 more health. So it's getting more gold efficient in two ways because it's cheaper, and it gets 100 more health now. Um, this didn't feel bad for me to build before, but now it just feels much better. Uh, what do you guys think about this change? Do you think it opens it up with that with that price point to tankier supports more? Fenrir, do you want to speak to that at all?
Yeah, the number for like support items is like 2,500. So the closer you can get to that number, the the better it is. It's still a little expensive, and I don't really see what supports you would want it on over other items.
Sure.
Like, I think like maybe Set could take it with that extra burn damage because he just wants to sit there and fight everybody. But like, I'm not gonna take this on Leona because I want Anathemas for the
Right.
extra CC and tenacity.
And how much? And if you're playing support, how many items do you really get to build anyway in a normal game? You get to build your mythic and one either item, right? At most, generally.
Right now, right now I'm getting to two almost every game, and then I would say probably like 50% of my games I'm getting to like three. So it really depends on how the game goes.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe this would be something to slot in as a third if it is really beefy and you're going. But even then, if you're picking one of the mythics that supports generally pick, whether it's Evan Shroud or, I mean, if you're an enchanter, you're never touching this anyways. But if you're taking Evan Shroud or if you're taking, Frostfire Gauntlet, perhaps I don't think you would because of the price point. But is there a world where any of the other items you're getting would interact enough with this to really pick? Like you said, it doesn't sound like it fits in a support mindset at all.
I think where you can start finding supports taking this is when you're playing with a Senna bot lane and you're the one that's farming.
Mm,
So like TK set, Cho'Gath could build this item. I think that's where if you're gonna see it in the bot lane, that's when you're gonna see it
ooh, I
with like
like
the
that.
fasting Sennas.
That's a hot take. I like it. Okay. Any other thoughts on Sunfire, John, or not really?
I mean, I agree with you. I haven't personally used it that much. I mean, I built it a couple times. I, I don't know. I mean, feels slightly better, I guess, to build or like buy, and it does feel better. It felt underwhelming
This,
before, but
yeah, so I would say I don't think it felt underwhelming if you paired it with Heartsteel, but if you didn't
yeah,
pair it with Heartsteel, then it is underwhelming because the health
yeah.
ratio for the amount of burn you get it's higher than it used to be. I feel like I'd have to look and see what the numbers, but if you do Heartsteel Sunfire with Merc Treads, you're getting the tenacity that you want. You're getting magic resist, and then Sunfire gives you a buttload of armor. And then you're getting a shitload of health, so you're probably doing like 50 damage a second with just those two items and your base levels. So it's quite a lot of damage that you're able to do and stick in fights. But that being said, if you're not taking Heartsteel, if you're taking Jack Show, if you're taking, um, what's the other? Frostfire is one, or if you're taking Radiant Virtue, you probably wouldn't want this. And if you're not taking a tanky-ish mythic, you definitely don't want to take this in general. So it does feel like it's niche, but not too niche to me. Like I like these changes because it felt fine before, but now it feels good. So okay, that's Sunfire. Ravenous Hydra. Everyone and their mother's been building this item, and it's getting nerfed. Thank God. So the Omnivamp from stacks has been removed. Not the flat 10% Omnivamp you get for finishing the item, just from stacks is gone entirely. And then the AoE splash damage is down by it's been reduced for both melee and range champions. So it was 60% of your bonus AD for melee champions and 30% for ranged. Now it's 50 for melee and 25 for ranged. that doesn't feel like that big of a deal, but the Omnivamp from it feels like a huge deal. What do you guys think about that? John, what do you think about this change to Ravenous?
I mean, the item was definitely very strong, and I think that that needed to. I think that was a good start for the item because I mean I've used it a ton, and like it feels absurd. Uh, I mean, as far as the AoE splash damage, like I mean, I still think that aspect of it is going to be pretty strong. I mean, it's only a 10% nerf for melee champs, but yeah, the Omnivamp seems strong, but the AD is still there. I still think it's a good item. I still build it when I'm like pretty ahead on Rengar or Graves. I mean, I just when I'm ahead, I build it, and it feels really good. Um, I like it on both Graves and Rengar because especially when I'm like ahead or I'm trying to play against someone who has a very good clear like Diana or something like that, because it helps me keep pace with them in clear speed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mean skirmishing, it's super good. So I mean, there's been like several occasions where like there'll be like a wave and there'll be like a low target like near the wave or something, and I can just if I can't reach them as Rengar with my like out of a bush, I can just leap to the minion, get the splash damage, and then Q them. And like I mean that item feels really good on um I played it mostly on Rengar, but I built it some on Graves too. I mean it's pretty gross on him as well. But
Yeah, it
yeah,
is
I think it
gross on
needed a nerf.
Graves.
I think it needed a nerf. Honestly, I think it's still pretty strong in my opinion,
And for
especially when you're ahead.
Yeah, and just it did need a nerf, but this is even the second nerf. So
Yeah,
it used to be what 8% Omnivamp from stacks, and the damage
yeah,
was even higher. The
yeah. He
damage you
was
could
yeah,
stack up, not the splash damage, was not changed. But yeah, this is the second nerf that it's had since it came out. Just to talk about how overtuned it was at the start.
yeah,
I've played it as well with some champions. It felt very good on Kiana. I will say I've had mixed results on Kha'Zix when I've played with it. It looks like it's fantastic for Zed. I have not liked it on Jarvan, I will say. Xin Zhao looked like he was a good user. I have not tried it, but there's a lot of champions that were building it when they wouldn't normally have wanted to build old Ravenous. So this is, yeah, if champions were building it when they didn't want to be building it just because it was too strong, then the stats were too good to pass up for the price point, then you know that it was a problem. In a weird way, I kind of feel like this item is less coin flippy now because now if you're dying, you're not losing Omnivamp at all, right? Because you wouldn't want to build this before if you think you're going to die, because then you're going to lose all your stacks every time you die, anyways, or half the stacks. But I feel like it's less coin flippy because now you're only going to lose your AD. You're not losing any healing from it, so it feels more consistent. Does that make sense or no? Because uh, it is flat out worse of an item. So maybe it
yeah. I
doesn't
think
make
it's less.
sense.
I think it is the less punishing, I guess. Like, I mean, yeah, you still lose with the AD, which feels bad, but like,
Hmm.
I mean, it's you're just losing less value, I guess. So it's less punishing in that aspect. But yeah, overall, the item is worse. Like I said,
Sure. Fenrir, who's that white friend in your background?
That's my dog.
What's his name?
One of my dogs. His name's Jax.
Hey, Jax.
Come here. He don't want to. He's busy.
Okay.
Got an update though.
I
So you're gonna let it. You
uh
see it?
kinda. It's very
yeah.
bright.
It's sorry. It's Double Lift has officially joined 100 Thieves.
Oh, did not know that. Okay. Um, cool. Well, we will save talking about that for another pod because we have enough shit to get through. So, um, anything you want to add to Ravenous, Fenrir?
I don't play any champions that play it, so I don't really have anything to comment about it.
Okay. Gotcha. The only other thing that I wanted to bring up is that this item it looked like it felt amazing on Neela because she wants splash, she wants healing, and it gives everything like that. And she snowballs already pretty hard, and she was the highest win rate ADC last patch. She had like a 53% win rate or something absurd. Um, So now I think she might not be the winningest ADC anymore, even though she's not being directly changed. So that's something else that we'll have to watch and see. But last item that's being changed is Moss Stomper, the green pet, the Bulbasaur of the jungle. Moss Stomper was just too strong, they thought, relative to the other ones. So the other two jungle items are not being changed, but this one is. So it is now the buff duration of reduced damage and tenacity. It was 3 seconds, now it's 1.5. So you're gonna once you lose the shield, once that breaks, then you only have that buff for a much smaller amount of time. I mean, it's halved. And then the tenacity type, it used to be flat additive, now it is multiplicative. So you're effectively getting less tenacity from it rather than, well, you're not getting as much, mathematically speaking. That doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, but it does hurt the item some. I know that we've talked in the last pod and in community game nights and other streams and stuff like that, that kind of the consensus of that came to me, and I know, John, you thought as well that Moss Stomper was just the strongest because it was all around, everyone could use it well. Do you think that this takes it out of being the king of the three? Do you think this brings it in line? What do you think about that?
I think it definitely like brings it more in line with the other options. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like I think it makes it less of a like I'm just gonna go the green item every single game on everyone because like yeah, like that's you get so much like benefit from it as anybody, like if they have CC of any form or slows. So it's like and there's no like thought that has to be put into rocking it either. So it's like you're gonna just get it all the time, and it just helps with your clear as far as being healthy. So yeah, I mean, it definitely needed a nerf in my opinion, because I mean, like you were saying, just everyone was like almost defaulting it to it unless another one was super good on them. I feel like I've personally gone the red one the least. Like I almost always go blue or green.
And you're mostly going blue only because you play Rengar, correct? If you're not playing Rengar, you're not going blue hardly ever.
I go it on Graves sometimes. I feel like just if occasionally, just if I like feel like I would want the move speed, I guess, and I'm like moving around the entire map a lot. I
Okay.
can because I'm getting more used to it. Like since I've used it on Rengar a lot, I've gotten just used to using it as well. And I mean the move speed is nice. Like it definitely
It's
is
a
noticeable.
fat increase of move speed.
Like
Yeah.
once you get it and you full clear, you can full clear so quickly. Like with that item, you can move around the map so quickly with that if you just go through the right sequence of bushes. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that it's still good. The green one is still good, but yeah, I think it's less of a automatic go for anybody or like a go to for everybody now.
Yeah.
But definitely like still good.
It definitely also it's probably still the go-to if you're, even if you're a champion that wants to deal damage, if you're the primary engage or a function or a way to primary engage, then this is still going to be a good item. So like I think I'm still taking this on Vi. I'm going to take this on Udyr because I don't go the Prowler's Claw build. So if you're but that is the better build to be going. Like, let's be clear. Even I don't like it, but it is the best version of him right now. Um, this is still, I think it's still a good option, and I'd argue it's probably still the best of the three, situation agnostic. So it's still a good default. And if you're in lower elo, there's absolutely nothing wrong with just running Moss Stomper every single game that you're jungling because you're always going to get benefit out of it. You don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it. Like John said, it's automatic. You're getting the benefits. You don't have to focus on that part of your game. If you're trying to climb, you can focus on other things and then start to incorporate this knowledge later on. But
Yeah, I feel like the red one sometimes is like you definitely have to think about it more. I feel like because it's almost like it like charges up like fleet, right? And
yeah,
then it has like on your next attack it does the effect,
yeah,
which like
it's like, deciding when to auto with Dead Man's Plate. That's the easiest way I think about it, which is sometimes
yeah,
tricky for people to get.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree though. I
Okay.
definitely think the grade one is still very good.
Okay. So that's it for items. Now we'll start running through the list of champions, and there is a lot of them. So Amumu is getting changes here. His health growth is up by 11 per level. His Q is now 10 more expensive per level. His E, the base magic damage is down by 5 flat. No, it's down early, sorry, and buffed late. So it's worse for support Amumu. It's better for Amumu in a jungle or in a solo lane if you're a psycho. And then no AP ratio change. And his W is getting a increase later with points to the percent max HP that is done. So what do we think about this for Amumu? Fenrir, what do you think about these changes here?
At first look, I thought it'd be decent for like supportive movement, but like for the health growth, but his mana cost on his Q is going up, which hurts a lot. And then he's getting a lot of increased scaling on his W and E, so that's better for like jungle Amumu to get those levels. So you can still play him support, I'm sure, but these changes don't help him as much as it would in the jungle.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at him on u.gg. His jungle pick rate has basically not changed, and he went from a 46.4 win rate to 52.49 with these changes, which is fucking absurd. His support win rate has also gone up by 2% exactly, with a slight pick rate increase. And his ban rate hasn't changed at all. So it seems like these benefited him everywhere because, like you said, once you're starting to put points into abilities other than Q, you're actually benefiting. But I'm shocked that he got a 5.5% increase in win rate in jungle. That seems like a problem, and I don't think it's attributed to anything else other than these buffs, because none of the other items that he would want to go other than Sunfire have been changed, and Sunfire isn't even changed that much, as we already spoke to. Yeah, John, what do you think about these changes for Amumu?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was fine, honestly. Like, I mean, I think he should, like, it doesn't surprise me that his jungle win rate went up that much. I mean, that's like, I don't know. I think that
It doesn't surprise
Jack
you that
show's
it went
super
up
good on him.
5. It doesn't surprise you that it went up 5%. That's a
I mean,
lot, man.
yeah. I mean, it surprised me that much, but it doesn't surprise me that it went up like looked like a good bit.
Yeah,
I would have maybe said like 2.5, maybe, or like 2 or something.
yeah,
But
that's what I was
I don't
thinking.
know. I mean, Jack Show is insane on him. I thought he was fine. I don't know. I had no idea. Like, I guess it was a little, I guess, surprising to me that he needed to be balanced. I guess.
I guess. I mean, the Moss Stomper nerf this is what he would take, and even before, I would recommend this, and especially now recommend, or I guess especially before, even now, Moss Stomper would be the one to go with. But yeah, it's Jack Show, Boots, and Demonic Embrace is the build for him. Then into Sunfire as the general build there. But okay,
Yeah, I mean, I just don't like with demonic. He's already doing a lot of damage. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I
yeah.
guess to me, the most surprising part of it is the percent uh of the target take like maximum HP damage was like one of the things that was buffed. That's just like a very feel like finicky thing to buff.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how much that 0.4% of target's max HP really makes a difference at max level of W? Because this, if you're in the jungle, I think this is your second max. I think it's EWQ. Yeah, that's the recommended skill order. Because Q, you're not getting all that much from leveling it in the jungle. But yeah, I don't know. Fenrir, anything else to add about Amumu? No.
No, I think partially why he's getting a little better is just because everybody's building HP. If he gets that just a little bit more maximum HP, it just increases his damage.
Yeah, good point. Meta shift's helping him a bit too. Yeah. Okay. Cho'Gath. So Fenrir, do you want to cover this one for us?
Sure. So passive carnivore, the mana restore enemy kills is going up, and it at start and from the scaling. And then feral screen base, sorry, base damage is up at all levels, and then R feast cooldown scales down in level.
So what do you think about these buffs to him? What do you think about how they affect him?
That it for sure helps his lane, him getting more mana. Does enemy kills on his passive still considered like minions and stuff?
Yes, minions work with it. Yep.
So he's just getting that much more mana back in lane. His W, which is pretty easy poke, the damage goes up there, and then the cooldown on his R going down. I mean, that just helps him scale faster into the late game, getting those health stacks.
Yeah, and scale harder since it infinitely stacks too when you're chomping champions or epic monsters. Yeah, I'm just looking at win rates. His top went up by 1.5 percentage points so far, and mid has gone up by 4 points. That is somewhat to do with, I mean, I think these buffs with AP helps him, or not the AP, the mana restore helps him a lot. But it also helps that, it's a bit more stable, I would say, from what I'm seeing about this patch so far and what I've done with advanced scouting. So that helps him scale up for sure. And yeah, he has more mana, he does more damage. It's just overall great buffs for Cho'Gath, which I don't know if they were needed personally, but as someone who likes to play Cho'Gath, I'm cool with it. And I don't think that this makes him OP either. I think it just makes him competitive in mid and more competitive in top. I've also jungled him a couple times, and it feels fun. Like you have to have I mean, you can just power farm super fast, and uh, then when you see someone, just fucking hit him with a Heartsteel proc. But um, and he is one of the champions where Heartsteel is, I'd say, always what you want to be doing, or almost always, unless you're going AP. But he's one of the few hardcore Heartsteel users. Yep. Anything else you want to add, John?
I haven't played any Cho'Gath. I mean, I played against him some. I mean, this is definitely nice for him. I mean, it's nice for his lane, like you were saying, like because I mean, I felt like especially if you're poking a lot with the Q and W with him, like he can run out of mana quickly early. Uh, so I mean, that just helps him stay in lane longer, helps his lane. The R I think is really nice for him because
It's really nice.
I mean that's actually like I mean, he's gonna when he has it 3 points in his R, he's gonna be able to in a game that is going late. I mean, he's gonna have it every single interaction you have with him. So
Yeah,
I
and
think that's pretty big, honestly, for him. So
agreed. And I honestly am I'm happy about it, not only because I like Cho'Gath and I think it's cool to see him around, but I think he's competitively viable now. I thought he was before, but now I think he absolutely should be being picked in pros, in mid more than top.
yeah, I think he's pretty good mid actually.
Yeah, I could see Senacho as well popping up. I definitely hope that happens, but yeah, Fenrir, you're nodding your head. Do you think that that's a good combination?
Yes, it's one of the better. I don't understand why people don't play it more. Everybody wants to play fucking TK, so no, just play Cho'Gath. He's better.
He's got a lot of poke, like a lot of range as well.
Yeah, and the innate mana restore on killing enemies. Like, it totally makes
Yep.
sense. I do wonder, does that proc on? I guess it doesn't matter for fasting Senna, but I would wonder, do you get the mana and health restore from a relic shield kill if the support does it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so because it works. The relic shield works on other
Oh,
like
cool. Well,
champions that have like interactions with minions and stuff like that.
there you go. And I believe the mana and health restore that you get on a small monster is equal to a large monster too. So when you kill a raptor camp, you just get a fuckload of mana and health back all at once. So
Yeah.
yeah, since it's flat. So, okay. Mundo got ability adjustments. So I'm just gonna read through this, and then we can talk about Mundo some. He
There's a
lost
hotfix change on PvE already.
already because it's too strong.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So we'll talk about that then after I cover this. But that's all. That's good to know because it seems like he would be pretty strong. So some base stat adjustments where he's getting less flat stats and more scaling stats, specifically with MR. Actually, I guess it's just MR. His base attack speed is down and his AD growth is also down. But the canister for where his passive goes where he pleases, he loses and heals less for each of them. And then his max health regen per 5 is down early, up late, and it equals out at level 11. Riot has helpfully provided that stat, so that's good. His Q costs 10 more health, no other changes to it. The cleaver, the W, the heart zapper, the cost is up to 8% of current health. But you do get 50% of the health back after not taking damage, as opposed to if you didn't take any damage, you didn't get anything back from it. So now you can use it when you're just running around and waiting for your health to come back or something like that. You can leave lane or you can leave base a little earlier and just use this while you're walking back to heal a bit of health. Actually, wait, you're still gonna net loss. Never mind, I take that back. Damage stored as gray health is way up. It's 80. It used to be 25 to 45%. Now it's 8 with ability rank. Now it's 80 to 95% based on level in the first 0.75 seconds, then 25% afterwards. So they want you to use it more to block burst rather than DPS. It's going to be better at that. And it lasts for 1 second less long. His E, the passive bonus AD, is up based on missing health. The health cost is up by 10 at all ranks. The cooldown is up by 1 second early, scales to be the same late. And the bonus damage to monsters is down. And then his R, the maximum dosage, he gets a lot more health gained as max health. He no longer gives bonus AD, but at rank 3, Mundo's R healing effects are increased by an additional 5% per nearby enemy champion. So level 16, 17, 18, the more people that are around, he's healing a lot more. So overall, I can see how he's stronger. I didn't think he'd be hotfix worthy. What are they specifically targeting?
I seen it was on Twitter. I can't remember who posted it. They were going at some of his like some of the numbers that they changed because they changed a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they did.
I can't. I don't remember exactly, but we'll have to. I'm looking forward to seeing if I can find it.
Sure. Okay.
I
So
think one of them was the 5% is going down to like 2.5% because he was just like Omega healing on his ultimate.
oh, gotcha. Okay.
I think that was one of them, and then I actually think the Q health cost was going down a little bit.
Okay.
Those are the only
Interesting.
two I remember completely.
Yeah, because it's worth noting that he does regenerate all of the health back if he hits somebody. Or I guess it was if the Bonesaw hits a champion or monster, Doctor Moon recovers 50 health. So, uh, if it hits a non-champion or non-monster, instead restores 50 health. I'm not exactly sure. The tooltip on u.gg doesn't seem like it's exactly right. Um, yeah, but his win rate in top did go up by 4%, so that's probably why. His jungle win rate only went up by 2 because he was already good in the jungle. And I remember, John, you talking about Mundo being a problem in the jungle, like he was a big deal. So does this push him like? You thought he was over the edge before, correct? Does this push him even further over the edge?
I mean, before I thought he was pretty insane. I mean, let's see, they lowered his E bonus damage to monsters by 50%, but I mean, his clear is still. I haven't tried the new window, so I can't really speak to like if it's better as far as like his clear and whatnot. But I mean, the previous iteration of it seemed insane to me. Just when I played it a handful of times, like it just felt strong.
Yeah.
And the clear, yeah. I think that just the most insane part of it to me was just the clear. The fact that you can just, I mean, it's like one of the fastest clears, I think.
Yeah, you can mode through the camp and recover the
And you're
health. That,
healthy
yeah,
too.
you recover the damage, you take his health, and then you're recovering health passively as you're walking around, so you don't mind that sometimes you're not wasting time in between your recovering health. And yeah, it was a fast clear, and
Yeah.
he is a very strong duelist if you can hit your Q, which is not the hardest to do because it's a pretty generous hitbox.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Fender, let us know if or when you find that. Don't look for it too hard though, because we got a lot of changes to go through, so no big deal.
Yeah, if I find it, I'll just post it in the Discord.
Okay, sounds good. Um, I might not. I'm not going to hear the notification since I'm streaming, but just if it comes up, just feel free to interrupt me and we can talk about it. Okay, so the next change is Kasanti. His base health regen is increased, his health growth is increased, and his E has been adjusted. So the two base stats are up, like I said, and the E adjusted his E so that if Kasante is very close to dashing through a wall, he will now go through the wall. This is only when his E is in ultimate form does he have the ability to dash over a wall, let's be clear. And then his E, they now give it auto attack reset. E will now partially reset auto attacks in Casante's base form and will be a full auto attack reset while in all out form. So I'm not sure what a partial auto reset is. I don't know of anything else that's like that, but you want to weave that in between autos is what they're trying to say for optimal usage there. And it completely resets your autos when you're in the all out form. So that's good. Specifically for his win rate, the win rate has gone up from 48.6 to 51.9. He skyrocketed with basically a slight pick rate increase. And now he's ranked S plus in top lane. Wow, I don't see how these changes really do that much for him. Personally, but maybe people are just starting to learn him better now, and so that makes up for some of it. I don't know. What do you guys see that massive win rate increase in these stats and these changes? John, you want to go first?
I mean, I feel like I haven't seen him like that much, honestly. But uh, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely good for him. Uh, there's a definitely like nice quality of life change as far as the getting over walls and whatnot. I like, I haven't played him that much still, so I can't really speak to like how annoying that was. But definitely with the E too, like for his skirmishing, that's gonna be really nice because I mean, you'll be able to get more damage off if you're doing using the partial auto attack reset. Like you were saying, so I mean, I know that he is pretty strong. It seems like from what I've heard though.
Yeah, I haven't played them all that much either, but even I noticed that E change for I mean, for skirmishing, like you said, it's very big. But for trying to get over walls, it doesn't when you're in the all out form, it doesn't increase the distance. It just allows you to dash over walls, and it doesn't go very far. So you have to be right next to the walls anyway. So just a little bit of quality of life is nice. Um, I don't like the fact though that they're allowing someone like a champion to be quote very close to the wall unquote without going all the way through it and you still go through it. I just don't want that to cascade into other effects where you're using walls to increase the range of things like fiddlesticks are, like hex flash, other displacements. You can Ezreal E. I don't want that to start to change any of that. I don't know if it will, but I don't want to even get that ball rolling because that's a sign of skill to be able to do that. Maybe I'm irrational in my worry, though. I know, Fenrir,
I mean,
you don't like facing Kasanti. Do you think that these changes are warranted? Do you think he was. What do you think about these changes overall, man?
I think you said it towards the end of when you were talking the first time, like about the changes that people are kind of learning how to finally play him properly. I thought he was good when he first released. I could see it. Like you when a new champ releases, you can kind of see if they're going to be good, just kind of based on how they play,
Sure.
and then you just kind of need to figure out how to play them. So when you are already learning how to play a champion and they're probably good, and then you give them a buff, they're just going to be better. So
Yeah. Cool. So I was right the first time. That's all I heard from that. Cool. That'll fuel my ego for the next hour. Um, anyways, one of the two quote unquote adjustments, Cassidon. His base shield is increased, the shield AP scaling is decreased, and his E was adjusted. So just like I said, his AP ratio on the shield is down from 40 to 30%. His base shield is up from it's just 20 better at all ranks, 20 more shield at all ranks. And then slight change to when the shield spawns, but I that would be negligible change overall. That shouldn't be anything different. It's just changing slightly in the animation. And then his E though is a lot different. So the cooldown used to be 5 seconds. Now it's 21 to 13. It used to be this. So now the spell no longer requires a certain number of stacks in order to be cast. That's gone. Ally and enemy spells cast near Cassidon reduce E's cooldown by 1 second. So you no longer are able to stack it yourself. But if it's happening in a fight a lot and people are using abilities, you can use Force Pulse every couple seconds if there's a lot of abilities being cast. Plus, you build a lot of ability haste on Cassidon anyways. So they're just changing the way that this works. They're not changing any damage numbers. They're not changing any slow. They're not changing any of that. No mana, nothing. It's just how often you can cast it. This seems like a big nerf to me early for Cassidon, but overall, he's a lot stronger later with this Force Pulse change. Fenrir, you're nodding your head. Why do you agree with me?
Yeah, I think it just makes his laning a lot harder, and then I think it makes his late game even more stompy because I don't know, when I'm playing against Cassid, and I feel like he just R's on top of me, and then his Force Pulse, and then I'm dead. I don't even feel like he has to use his Q.
Yeah.
Whereas later into the game.
Yeah, Q almost feels like it's a last hitting tool to survive lane until level 6, and then the Q is fine, but it doesn't do all that much anymore. John, have you seen much Cassidon in your games?
A little. I mean, I guess as far like, in my opinion, this is definitely nice as far as his Q with the shield strength. The 20 AD strength, but yeah, it does have a little less scaling, but like, I think that just more easily and more safely allows him to scale against those like control mages and stuff like that. Who poke him, it makes it a bit easier. I mean, 20 damage early game like that can definitely make a big difference. Yeah, as far as the CE, the only thing I wonder about is like what is the range for the calculation of that, like in terms of like ally and enemy spell cast. It says nearby. Like what is nearby? How many units is nearby, I guess.
Sure. I would guess it'd
But
be something like 1,000. That'd be my guess.
no, yeah, I feel like that makes sense. Like yeah, intuitively that's like what I think. I think like 1,000 or like 1,200 or something like that.
Yeah.
But
However, it's going to be the same as however it used to get charged before. I doubt they changed that calculation.
yeah, I think the change for his E, like I actually really like this. I think this just makes a lot of sense. Like I like that it's now like a long cooldown scaling amount. Like it just feels more skillful to use, I guess.
And if you're split
And
pushing,
also,
it allows you to actually
yeah,
use it.
yeah, exactly. Like I think it's just a good change in general for him. I think just intuitively when you like play against the champion, it makes more sense for the Heat to work like this too, in my opinion. So overall, I think this is a good change. I think people who are good at casting going to be doing pretty well because I mean I don't think this is like an insane thing. I could be wrong, but I think it's just a little buff.
Well, your thoughts are supported by win rate because
1,800 units.
1,800. That's Cassidon's range.
Yep.
That's pretty far.
Okay. Yeah, that is a lot. I mean, you could.
That's further than a Zac
yeah.
Leap. Zac Leap, I think, is like 1,500 at most. That's further than a Blitz Q. Blitz Q is 1,300. So that's adding an extra 500 range off of Blitz Q. That's a long way.
So like you could just have like your support like in river, just like throwing abilities or something, and that would work, I guess.
As long as you're somewhat nearby
Yeah,
him,
for
yeah.
what
Yeah, it's hard to like no one really thinks about that though. I feel like in the heat of a game, typically.
I would guess that the best approximator would be like someone on the if you're at your turret in mid lane, the other person can be most of the way back on their lane, and you could still pick up stack or cooldown reduction off of it. That would be a good way to look at the distance, I think.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely all around good changes for him.
the win rate went up 4%, which is wild to me, and the
Good
pick
lord,
rate
yeah.
barely changed. So this seems like it is more of a buff, but there's also, I mean, other things have been nerfed, and yeah, I don't know. People are starting to pick up Cassidon, and yeah. So, anyways, next change is Kane. It's blue Kane. I'm just gonna pass over it because there's been effectively no win rate change, and it doesn't feel like it's very important at all. But hop in if either of you guys feel that way. Kane, it's just a blue Kane buff. It does nothing for red Kane. So his passive, the Shadow Assassin bonus damage, is just up base. It was 8 to 30% based on level. Now it's 13 to 40% based on level. And then his E, the heal upon terrain, is still the same flat, but it gets it had a ratio on it with bonus AD, and it was 35. Now it's 45. I don't think this is a big deal because it doesn't really affect Blue Cane, and the stats kind of seem to shake that out. He cares about damage more than this other stuff, and the passive damage doesn't really change all that much. But yeah. Next change, though, Lilia, her Q base damage is decreased. So this is because changing her from a range to a melee champion last patch greatly increased her synergy with Demonic Embrace, Conqueror, and Red Buff, which resulted her in getting more power than Riot expected. And this makes sense that they need to nerf her because of all of that. So her Q, the damage is up by 5 at rank 1, but down by 15 at rank 5, so it equalizes out at rank 2. So from rank 3 on, so from level 5 onwards, you're getting less bang for your buck on the Q there. And then the outer edge true damage is getting the same, it's the same treatment because it's the same numbers. So it's less effective overall. It's more effective level 3, or through level 3. Level 4, it's the same efficacy. And then level 5, once you start to put a third point into the queue, it doesn't really, it's not as good from that point onwards. No AP ratio changes, though. Anything that I really need to bring up with this other than it's just an overall nerf to her because she was too strong?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with, yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said.
Okay.
I don't think too much else to be said about that.
Yeah, and her win rate has dropped in top lane a little bit and jungle a little bit, but not much at all. So overall, not that big of a difference. Here, next one is Malphite. This seems like it might be something worth covering. John, you want to go through it?
Yeah, sure. His E base damage is increased. His armor scaling is increased. And his mana cost is no longer increases with rank. So it looks like just a little buff to his E magic damage, and they're making it so yeah, the scaling is off of his armor by 10% more now. And then at rank 1 it's up by 10, the magic damage on his E. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely really nice for him. Like as far as his E just costing 50 at all ranks. Like I mean, I just feel like he was kind of, at least early, he was a little gatekept by mana. Because I mean, his Q and E, I mean, he's just spamming it, but and I guess they took away some of the benefit from going like corrupting pod and going like biscuits and whatnot. So I mean, this just makes his laning like better. I mean, super nice for him. I mean, I don't know. I don't. I guess I just don't understand the like reasoning behind it. But I mean, a nice buff for him for sure.
Finner, what do you think the reasoning behind this change is?
To be honest with you, I can't tell you because I thought he was in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I
Personally,
mean, I agree. And like they say, they
I'm sure his
say like
lane
his
struggled a little bit, but he's not a laning champion.
yeah.
He
They say it's like because of his immolate, immolate, the passive was not good, so that's like why.
Well,
That's the
Immolate is
explanation.
the Immolate is the name of the passive for Bami's Cinder, is what it used to be. So that would build into every tank item, every tank mythic, and so he would build that, and that would help a lot with wave clear. But that has been removed because Bami's Cinder now only builds into Sunfire, so therefore you're not getting the passive burn unless you build that, which he does want to build if you're going tank, but not as a first item. So here's my thoughts on it, because I do play Malphite sometimes in top lane, and I love playing him in ARAM, but ARAM's a different boat entirely. He feels so okay. You're almost always taking Grasp because you only take Comet in those lanes where you think you can push the other laner out, assuming you're playing tank. If you're playing AP, it's a different style, and I don't have that much. That would still be a Q focused build almost always if you're playing AP, but it'd be QE W max, and if you're playing tank, it's almost always going to be EWQ, but it could be QEW or QWE or something, depending. If they don't have a lot of attack speed, but they have, AD casters like a Gangplank, like an Ezreal, then E doesn't do all that much for lowering their attack speed. So you might want to skill that last. But this helps because if you were able to push him out of lane before, if you're able to push your laner out before, you're able to do that now. That doesn't change anything because Comet and Qmax is still strong for those lanes. You can push them out. If you're not able to push them out, you don't go Comet, you don't go Qmax, you go Emax or Wmax if you're going to be brawling with them, or you go PTA. And this helps. The mana helps for sure because he has a shit mana pool. So that helps a lot. And then if you're not confident using Corrupting Potion, then you go Doran's Shield, and then you really suffer from mana problems until you pick up a Tear or a Glacial Shroud or something like that. So I think that this actually helps deceptively a decent amount in those lanes where you're close to even or you're losing. This helps you have some more lane agency. I get what you're saying, that he's not a lane champion, but there's you know there's always that recurring idea that top lane's an island, so he has to be able to match people in uh, mid to late game or so, and he can. The armor for sure helps since we're in a very heavily AD meta, from what I've noticed. Um, I don't know. I think that this actually does a little bit more than at first glance. And the mana cost is huge. The armor damage, fine, not a big deal. But the base damage is not a big deal either. It's not that big a deal. The base damage, it's 30 extra damage, but the amount of the armor for the spam ability early in lane is a big deal as well, especially if you're putting points into this. If you're not putting points into it, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything until later on. But that's my rambling thought on that. So, and if I just look at win rates as well, just to see, his top win rate went up by about 1.5%. So he's at 50%, well, 0.03 off of it. So he's at 50%, basically balanced in. There is some pick rate in mid lane. He got worse in mid lane, but yeah, I don't know. Mid lane Malphite is situational at best. I've played it before in mid against like a Yasuo or a Talon or something, but it's very situational. So yeah. Anything else, or should we move on, gents?
Move on.
Okay, cool. Maokai, the bane of the new ARAM. So his passive heal is increased, and his Q base damage is increased, and the Q damage to monsters is increased. So they're buffing him because he's also been missing the old Sunfire and Immolate passive, and these are the buffs to make up for it. I don't know. It doesn't feel like this is that big of a deal. Although the Q bonus damage to monsters went up by 40 at all ranks, which seems pretty big. Other than that, the heal, it doesn't seem like it's barely changed, and the Q base damage is also barely changed as well. I don't know. Do you guys have any other thoughts on Maokai? This doesn't seem like a fairly impactful change.
Yeah, he is kind of like I haven't played against him a lot, surprisingly, but like I looked at his win rate. His jungle win rate is disgusting. Like, uh, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's sitting at like in gold plus a 53 and like a half% win rate in the jungle. But I think that's also a pretty small sample size. But I don't know. I mean, I think it jungle Maokai could be pretty good again,
Okay.
especially with the Sunfire and then some of the other stuff. I mean, I mean, making his Q like that's a good bit of bonus damage at each level, like 80 to 120 at rank 1, where that's like the ability that he's spamming on the camps, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, his clear is, I'm going to try it. But I don't know. I mean, it seems like his clear is probably going to be very, like, substantially better in my eyes. And
Substantially better.
then, yeah, because, I mean, that's 40 just damage increase at rank 1. And, you know, the healing is also super nice. I mean, yeah, I like. It doesn't surprise me that he's sitting at that high win rate. I just don't think he's super popular in jungle. In
No,
terms of,
he's not.
yeah, I think in terms of top lane, he's still pretty good. But like you're saying, I think this is it like, and I mean this is just in my opinion, like strictly off of feel. It does feel like a pretty 80 heavy, 80 and tank heavy meta.
Hmm.
So I mean Fiora, I'm sure does fine into Maokai top. You know, Aatrox or yeah, Aatrox pretty good still. Olaf is sure does good into him. I bet you, yeah. I don't know. I think that that's definitely something I want to mess with a little bit is Jungle Maokai because it seems like that could be super good.
Yeah. If you, I would say practice it for Clash this weekend, but it doesn't matter because it's ARAM Clash.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree with you. I think the only, like I said, the only meaningful change is that bonus damage to monsters, which is up a lot. But
Yeah,
the
that's
rest,
a
the
yeah,
rest
that's
of
a good
it
bit.
doesn't feel like it's that big of a deal. It'll move his win rate up a little bit, but not all that much.
Yeah, but
Does any of this move support Maokai?
I'll be
Fenrir,
back.
what do you think? Okay, he's hopping away. Yeah, he said he'd be right back. But I don't. John, do you think this moves support Maokai at all? Moves it up the tier? I don't really think it does at all.
I don't think it does too much to him. I mean, it's just small buff. I think
Yeah.
slightly. I mean, because he's still getting the healing, passive healing. The Q damage is nice. So
Right,
just,
but it's
but it's
worth.
not very much. It's kind of very small, like you were saying. But
Yeah, and the heal, like he does get the Q buff, which you feel as soon as you put points in Q, but you don't feel that heal buff until later on because it scales up. Instead of 10% of max health, it's 12% of max health at max rank, and you're not getting that many levels of support. Fenrir, the question that I wanted to pose right before you stepped away was, did you think that these Maokai changes move Maokai's support up all that much, or no, not really?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I still have yet to play at support, so I don't really have a feel for the champion at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if you. I didn't think that you played it at all. I just didn't know, like, based on what you think, how this would impact, if it would move at all. But John and I don't think this would move it very much. He gets a small buff just like everywhere else, but it doesn't really affect him that much in support.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay, cool. All right. The Bane of the Jungle, Mordekaiser, is not being changed enough. Yes, I said it. My opinion right from the beginning. So, he's getting nerfs just for jungling, nothing else. So the damage cap against monsters was 180. Now it's 28 to 164 based on level. So that will slow down his clear significantly, his passive. But uh, and then also the passive proc on monsters generates a stack of his passive, which he needs 3 to proc it. Uh, it used to be on all monster hits. Now it's on large monsters only. So this would be a big deal, that one, if if Krugs were the way they used to be, but that doesn't happen anymore. You don't get a medium Krug popping out of the two medium Krugs popping out of the big one anymore. So I don't think that that one's a big deal. The damage cap against monsters is big, but he also doesn't have. There's no changes to top lane Mordekaiser. There's no changes to anything other than clear for Mordekaiser, which feels a bit short-sighted in my view. What do you think, John? You're another jungler here. You've had to deal with this monstrosity.
Yeah, I mean, like I think this is a good start, like
Yes.
you were saying. So I don't know. It just seems kind of like it's a little bit obnoxious because his full clear is so good. It is so healthy,
Hmm.
and also it's like there really isn't like anything you're having to do. Like his passive just used to do an absurd amount to AoE camps and just camps in general. Um, he just had too good of a clear. I mean, he just did objectively, I think, have too good of a clear
Yeah.
for what he is. And I think that he's very like in terms of jungle matchup, very stat sticky. Like it's just I think a little annoying that he can full clear very fast and then like I mean who can skirmish him at level 3 or 4? Like
Nope.
1v1, nobody.
Trundle.
Like yeah, maybe yeah, Trundle Warwick, that's it. Who else can fight him? Like
Maybe Olaf if he hits his Q first. That's about it,
yeah.
though.
And it's like those are the only ones, and then they also have to play it very well, whereas he just has to like auto you and have his
Yeah.
passive going. So that felt really bad. I think he needs more nerfs. I think he's still going to be really strong, like in the jungle and otherwise. I mean, I think he's good top right now as well. Like
The
he's just very annoying to deal with,
the
just in
change
general.
so here, what do you guys think about this? The change that I would propose is, well, okay, so just for his top, for because no changes where hit him top, but his win rate did decrease by 2% in top, and his pick rate is the exact same. So I mean, we're still earlier on in the patch, but I think that this would only affect, going in and taking jungle camps. This makes it significantly slower, so that would be that. But here's my proposed change for it. He no longer generates any of his passive metal or shield, shield stuff off of hitting monsters at all. He doesn't generate any of it. No additional changes to any damage numbers. He just can't generate W passive stacks for his shield strength. Then he turns into a heal off of monsters.
Yeah,
Off of non-epic monsters, I will say. Baron and Dragon,
yeah,
different story.
yeah. I agree. I think that'd be a good one. I think my changes would be that I think is good. I would decrease his. I mean, this would hit top lane Mordekaiser too, but I think his Q ISO damage needs to be slightly less. Like, I'm not saying a ton, but like it needs to be reduced a little bit. I would say, like maybe 10 at each rank or so. That's just like a random arbitrary number, but that just like to me like feels right. Uh, I think also just and the reason I think that would be okay is I think that he already like gets a lot of benefit just from his E, the passive on his E. Like he gets super good at magic pen scaling on his E. So like I mean, I don't know. I just think he's a little too oppressive in 1v1 situations. Like
Yeah.
early on where he shouldn't be. Like I understand it's Mordekaiser, like obviously he's good at 1v1, like especially at, like later on when he can just ult you and fight you. But I don't know. It just seems a little stat stick. I think he's still gonna be strong.
What
I
if
think he
they
needs
What if they made a change where his passive could no longer apply Rylai's? Does that break the champion, or is that too harsh?
mm, I don't know. I mean, I just don't. I played Jungle Mordekaiser. I haven't played it like an absurd amount, but I don't know. I also think that like the full tank Mordekaiser jungle is very obnoxious to play against when you
Yeah,
just go heart steel into demonic and then you're just like unkillable
yeah,
and do so much damage. I don't know.
Fenrir, do you think this goes far enough? Do you think it goes too far? What are you thinking? Weigh in on the convo
I
here.
don't think this does. I don't think it does jack shit. To be honest with you, this slows down his clear a little bit. That his clear isn't the problem. I mean, yeah, he clears fast, but he's just an absolute menace from 1 to 18.
Sure.
Yeah, he shouldn't be as good as he is early on.
No.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I'm looking at it. I mean, he's still sitting at and this is in jungle, 53.5% win rate.
Yeah, with a 5% pick rate as well. His pick
Yep.
rate went up from last patch and his win rate went down, which does make sense, but it didn't. I mean, obviously the nerf did some, but it's not doing enough.
23% ban rate.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
gross.
It was stupid. I wonder who our winner of the top ban rate was last patch. Oh my god. Who do you think it was
Udyr?
last patch?
Probably Udyr.
Nope. Udyr's not even
Zed.
in the top 10 champions.
Last patch?
Udyr had a 19.7% ban rate last patch.
Dang. Maybe Fiora.
She
Zed.
had 36.
Okay.
Not the top. There were 3 champions above her.
Dang. Okay, I'm getting closer.
Yumi, Hecarim, and the champion who's always the king of the ban rate.
Zed.
King of the ban rate.
It is Zed, yes.
Zed.
Yeah, it is
Gotcha,
Zed. 47.6. You want to hear what it is this
Oh
patch
my-
so far? 55.5.
Oh my gosh. That's insane.
He needs to be reworked because the community fucking hates him.
Dude, that's insane. 55.
Yeah, so far. And
He's
he's
been playing him ever.
I know. But even in mid lane, he has a pick rate of 14% and a jungle pick rate of 3.5. So he's in 70% of games, whether he's picked or banned. That's nuts. And he has a 52% 52 and change percent win rate in mid. He needs to be nerfed or he needs to be reworked. Honestly, he's too toxic for the game.
I mean, the ideal build on him right now is
Ravenous Eclipse.
Ravenous or Prowlers, yeah. Eclipse or Prowler. He's so tanky right now too. He just feels tanky.
Yeah,
I
he
feel like
does.
Zed should never feel tanky.
No, he should not. But anyways, we're talking a little too much. I'm gonna run through the next couple of changes or so. Shyvana, her E damage versus marked champions is decreased. It was 3 point marked enemies. Sorry, not champions. Any enemy that's marked with her E. The empowered basic attack used to deal 3.5% of their max HP. Now it deals 3% of their max HP. Not a big deal, in my opinion. But it does drop her down slightly. Not a huge deal though. The biggest hit would just be to taking objectives. I would think, really.
Yeah, I think she's still good.
She's still good.
And overall, still good.
Yeah.
Definitely A to S tier.
Scion is getting a couple of buffs too, and I would say that these are warranted personally, but again, not huge. He is getting his base mana is going from 330 to 400, and his mana growth is up by 10, and his Q base damage is up by 10 at all ranks. So there's that, but the Q damage, this is, I think if you just tap it, is what it is. That's what this damage is doing, not if you charge it all the way up, because it increases a lot more after that. He does deal with mana issues in lane, so it's very common for people to take Corrupting Potion in lane with him, but I don't know. This is nice, not a huge deal, though. Agreed, generally?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So Syndra is getting a bug fix as well as some changes overall. The bug fix is fixed a bug where upgrading Q could reset its cooldown, so that's fun. And she could upgrade Q once she got X number of splinter charges. Her W, the damage is the bonus damage once you've upgraded it is going down. It used to be 15% plus 1.5% per 100 AP. Now it's 12% plus 2% per 100 AP. Harder scaling, less base on it. More incentivized to go crazier builds or more risky builds. Her E, the cooldown is up from 15 to 17 at all ranks, and the magic damage is the same flat, but the AP ratio is down by 10%. I think that this is good because Syndra is nasty. I don't know why it took this long for her to get nerfed. I thought she was OP on release after her mid-scope update. Fender, you're nodding decently aggressively. Do you want to tell us what you're thinking there?
Yeah, I felt like she just got insane buffs when they redid her. Like being able to have like stacking queues, like where she can have a reservoir of being able to cast 2 within a couple seconds, just changes how she can team fight and just the damage that she can do with her ultimate.
Yeah,
I like playing her AP carry bot lane.
you do. Do you think you're a pretty good Syndra?
I like to think I am. She's probably the only mage I'm good at, to be honest with you.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
mean, aside from like Seraphine.
What about Syndra appeals to you?
I don't know, to be honest with you. When the champion, actually, I think I know. I'm a huge Bjergsen fan.
Oh, okay,
He's just a Syndra player. So
sure.
back in the day when I was just a wee youngling playing the game, I just
Just a
enjoyed
wee
playing it.
lad. But anyway, sorry, I didn't interrupt you there. But okay. Yep, that's the Syndra change. Tom Kench passive AP damage added. Q AP ratio increased. The self heal on the Q is increased. The W AP ratio increased. His E gray health increased. His R AP scaling increased, and the shield decay adjusted. Wow. So lots of buffs for Tom Kench, specifically more at AP. For that off, if you want to be going AP Tom Kench. So there's lots of numbers to see, but essentially he's better overall for AP. His Q is healing more for missing health. That did go up regardless of any AP ratios. The damage is up with AP. If you're playing it full tank, he's gonna heal more, and the shield is gonna fall off differently. It used to be last 2.5 seconds till after Devour ends, and then it would fall off entirely, just straight up disappear. Now it's going to decay by 50 health per 0.25 seconds after Devour has ended until it's completely gone, which is a very interesting change. I feel like that's the most significant one that allies are going to have to play around. Previously, this would be a shield that you would not, to use LS's terminology, you would never chew through Tom Kench's shield because it would be, at base, it was, or I don't know, it was fucking like 1,000 or something at rank 2 or some shit, like some crazy shield that you would get
Yeah.
with a crazy AP ratio. So you're never going to get through it. Now you're incentivized to almost to attack it somewhat because now you want to get through it faster. Because if it's decaying by 50 health and it's 1,000 shield, that's going to be 4 seconds until that thing is completely gone, as opposed to 2.5. That I feel like is the biggest change. John, you were gonna chime in there. What do you think about these Tom Kench changes?
I mean, like, I don't know. I just think he's already pretty. He can be obnoxious to play against. So, I mean, I think that the passive part is like, I don't know. Well, I guess not the passive, the self heal. I think is a definitely a good buff for him. But to me, that was like one of the more frustrating parts of playing against him was the heal and the shield. But I mean, yeah, like you just have to play around it. I mean, and also like maybe if you're like attacking the shield rather than waiting for it, Serpent's Fang could be a good buy against like super good against him
Yeah.
specifically, I guess. But I don't know. I guess he was pretty weak and like I haven't seen him a ton, but I also like don't like playing against him. So I mean, it's definitely nice changes for him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like definitely,
Quicksilver.
especially with his shield.
Quicksilver in the T-Force community is going to be happy about this because Tom Kench tricked his way to Diamond 1 into Masters as well. So
Nice.
Rob's going to be happy with these changes.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
guys?
I want to hear about it.
Yeah, I'll ask him about it, and we'll report back on the next pod. Fenrir, do you think this changes anything for support Tom Kench?
Not for like what you build. No, you're still gonna go probably lock it. I'm assuming is what he was going support. Unless again you want to go the center route, then it might unlock some crazy builds.
Yeah, so if
And yeah,
I'm looking at stats sites right now, it was saying Locket was the winningest, but very low pick rate in support. And this patch is recommending Heartsteel, but that's with 31 matches. It has a 70% win rate, again 31 matches. So there's not enough data really because people don't play Tom Kench very much. There's not enough data to really say what would be the best route for him. But Locket makes sense to me, um, absent playing it with Senna.
yeah, I think that this might. I mean, I think other people are pretty good in top lane. Like, I feel like this makes top lane Tom like definitely better.
His win rate went up by like 1 to 1.5%.
Yeah, he's got like a 50% win right now, right? Tom.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's I don't like playing against him top lane either because I feel like he's just so safe, and also like he's extremely hard to kill. I just want to talk to Rob and be like, how do I play
Yeah.
against this character? Like, what do I do against this character?
Yeah,
'Cause I feel like he's always just a menace.
agreed. I can never, when I play him top, it feels like I never have enough health or I don't have the range or whatever. And then when I play against someone good with it top, I'm like, how the fuck is this happening when I can't do this? He's so
Yeah,
simple, but it doesn't
he just
work the
runs
same.
you down. Yeah, just keeps hitting you, runs you down. And then, yeah, I feel like just from a jungle standpoint too, it's so hard to gank him if he ever has this W. Like, I guess I mean, there's ways to play around this W, right? Because you can cancel it since it's a channel, but like, it's still annoying to me because he's like extremely tanky. He has the shield and he has a good escape. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that's super good for support. I
Especially with
think that he's
the jungles that you play, it would be hard to gank him.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like with Rengar, I mean, I could stop his channel, but like, I don't know how. I'm gonna have to hit him so much to kill him. You know, it's like he's got to be pretty low already, or have like used his cooldowns. But yeah, I don't know. I wanna. I'll be curious to see like what that does to him in terms of top and support. Because I thought he's pretty good support, honestly.
Same. Yeah, I'm gonna ask Rob and see what he thinks about all these. I never have a problem ganking him, but we have a very different champ pool. So I'm playing Trundle, I'm playing Poppy, I'm playing Fiddlesticks, I'm playing these champions that have one or more ways to cancel whatever he's gonna do. So one to get on, like Vi as well. I can just hold my Q or my R and just immediately interrupt it, and he can't do anything about that at all. So if you have ways to cancel his W, you can definitely gank him and just keep him around because he doesn't have an escape then at all.
Yeah.
Unless he takes Ghost, in which case then you're probably not gonna fucking kill him anyways.
Yeah, he's just it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. But yeah. Okay, so a few more champion changes and then we're almost done with this patch. Trundle, base attack speed reduced by 0.07. I think it's more of a rounding numbers plus a slight nerf they want to help because tanks are popular. And then his R damage based on max health is down by 5% at max rank, and that's it. I don't think this really changes why someone picks Trundle, just makes him slightly less overall good and slightly less good in those cases where you pick him, but this doesn't really change Trundle very much at all. So I'm going to move on to everyone's favorite cat on a book, Yumi. Her passive cooldown has been increased by 4 seconds early, scaling down to the same, and her R root duration is down by 0.5 seconds. So it was 1.75, now it's 1.25 at all ranks. This doesn't touch any of her other numbers, doesn't touch her AP, her mana costs, nothing. I don't think this fundamentally gets at why people are frustrated with Yumi and why they don't like her at all. This just takes away tertiary power that she has, which is fine to do, but it doesn't get at the core of why people hate Yumi. Fenrir, you're a
Yeah.
support main and you play champions that don't interact well with Yumi. Why don't you speak to this change?
Peanut nerf the AP scaling ratio on her Q. That's the problem. She does so much damage and you can't do anything about it.
Tell us how you really feel.
Well, it pisses me off because they make this stupid ass change that does nothing.
Yeah.
0.5 seconds on a root from Yumi changes absolutely nothing. The problem in the champion is she does damage that is very hard to dodge, and you can't do damage back to her.
Yeah, they need to make her able to be popped off of the champion more often. I think a very positive change would be they could increase some of the power of her abilities, but if she gets knocked off the she would get knocked off of her host um if they are hard CC'd. I would say that should happen. If they're hard CC'd, then they should get knocked off. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think
Agree.
that could be something, or something where it's like almost like a so like if she gets off to like do her passive or something, and I think there should be more of a penalty, like even for like slows and stuff like that. Like a slow should be increase the amount of time that she has to get back on the mount. Maybe not like, like hard CC resets it, but like shouldn't be that punishing. But I don't know. I just think that that aspect of her needs to be way more punishing. She, I don't know.
What if they also did
Like
some hurting her early where they, made her A, ineligible to buy boots like Cassiopeia, and B, reduced her base move speed to like 280 or something? Made her a
yeah,
lot slower.
yeah, I think that definitely needs. So like, first of all, like they need to just like you're saying, they need to just do something about like her move speed and her interaction with boots because I think that it is not healthy for the game and also just extremely obnoxious for her to be able to do something where like she just goes magical boots and then goes like sword shoes or something and then goes Ludens and her Q just like it does far like let's be honest, like when she goes Lud that build, like she's just a like 80% of the time untargetable like mage. Like her Q does like half health speed. Like that's just too much. I don't know. And it's not like it's like they're skilled at hitting the ability, but I think that it does entirely too much and the scaling is way too good for what UV is. Like it just doesn't make sense, I guess, to me intuitively. Like if I were just looking at the game and this champion, like knew not like you're just telling me about this champion, like I would not expect her Q to do half someone's health when she has like one item. You know what I mean?
Here's a wild thought. What if, when she's on a champion, she siphons some stats from them instead of buffing them in exchange for the invulnerability that she has? So, it reduces their base stats by 5% or 10% across the board, all of them. Armor, MR, max health, or maybe not max health because that would be some funky math going on, but like regen of health and mana, AP, AD, attack speed, everything. If you just, everything was down by 10% while Yumi was sitting on you. Because you're getting the benefit of the heals, you're getting the benefit of the shield that comes, you're getting the benefit of having wards with you, you're getting that Q that goes with it, and the R and everything that Yumi brings. So it would still maybe be a net buff, but it's a lot less good for her to be on you. Or would that not really work? I'm just trying creative ways here to like
There, like,
change
I
it.
guess one thing I was thinking of that, I mean, this is just like randomly came to me is like, what if it was like almost like a mount thing with her where like once the person that you're sitting on takes like a certain amount of damage, you get knocked off basically as Yumi, and then it's like almost like the C. If you get CC'd, there's a cooldown, right? Like it resets the cooldown, so it'd be like that, I guess. Because then it's more punishing to like if she gets off and then someone CCs her, it's way more punishing.
Yeah, I get
So
that.
I don't know. I think that's like maybe something. I don't know if um I don't know. I think that they definitely got this first line right though. I like Yumi has simultaneously been one of the most frustrating and most popular slash played champs in the game. Like I just think they need to just do a rework on this champ, and
Yeah.
then it would be just much better. Um, I mean that's much easier said than done, and I know that's a lot of work that has to go into that ton of work, but I think that definitely is a champ that would be worthwhile to do because, like they're saying, I mean, she is popular, but she is very frustrating to play against.
She's popular because
And
she's easy to play, and she's a pretty free
yeah,
win for autofill supports.
it just feels so bad to play against most of the time. Is the reality. Like as ADC, I despise playing against it because I'll like take 2 or 3 really good trades against the enemy ADC or something, absolutely like chunk them to half HP, and then like 10 seconds later they're just back to full HP for no reason.
So here's the exact epitome of I mean, not that people need another example, but of what the frustration that Yumi brings. I played a Clash game a few months ago where we played Misfortune Zareth, which is a pretty heavy poke lane, and that's a very dominant lane, against a Gragas Yumi bot lane, and we could not move them off at level, like once, from no items, we could not move them out of lane, man. Like we were expending all of our mana and everything pushing them in. I mean, they were able to hold and get all the CS in lane, and we were not able to push them off, which is wild given that they just had the mana and the health. Yes, Gragas has health regen baked into his kit with his passive, the Happy Hour. I get that. And Yumi has some heals, but Yumi was making it so Gragas didn't have to worry about healing because she was just she was healing him and not doing that much damage to us, but it was we couldn't push him out of lane in a poke heavy lane. That was fucking frustrating to me. Yes, I
Yeah,
got a lot of first strike gold, but at the end of the day, that didn't really matter because we couldn't push them out of lane.
yeah. I just think I've played against something similar to that. Like I actually think I've played against that exact same lane before, bot lane Yumi Gragas, and it's like you hit them with everything. They they hit an occasional like Q here and there, but like it's just a like war of attrition. Like
Yeah.
you just can't ever push them out of lane. Like you can't ever get a winning trade on them, ever.
I also have no idea why people are not playing solo lane bot lane, Neela Yumi mid. Why in the fuck is no one playing that? I've been thinking this since the minute Neela came out. Because she shares the XP, so you're not missing anything in mid lane. You might be slightly down because she only shares some of it, but you'd be slightly down in levels, but you'd have Neela Yumi in mid. That's
Who
two
do we put bot
champions.
lane? Who do
You
you
could
put low?
someone solo, so you could do a Karthus, you could do, depending on the lane assignment, you could do Caitlyn, you could do Renekton if you wanted to, you could do Tom Kench, you could do, I don't know, like anyone that could decently well not bleed super hard in a solo 1v2 lane. So probably someone
Gotcha.
resourceless would be good, like Kennen would be fine down there. I don't know, Gragas would be a good one to put down there.
Yeah, I think
Something like
Gragas.
that.
Tom
Yeah.
Kench, yeah.
I mean, if they pick like a poke bot lane, you don't pick Neela Yumi, but then you put them in mid lane and the mid laner can't do anything.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah, I
gonna
don't know.
get
We should
fucked.
try it.
I would
Should
totally be
try
down. I'll play the Yumi end.
it.
But yeah.
That would be so frustrating for the enemy mid
I know.
laner.
I know. We just have to get a bot laner that'd be willing to play something that wouldn't just absolutely get shafted.
Yeah, what about Scion bot lane?
That would be
And then
that would be really good, I
I
think.
feel like
Yeah.
Scion bot lane with the Yumi Nyla mid.
Yeah. But all right. We have 2 more champion changes, and then we have a couple of jungle adjustments. So let's try and get through this so we can play some Miriam, guys. Zach, his passive healing is increased, so each chunk is now going to heal instead of 4 to 6.25% based on R rank. It's now going to do 4 to 7% based on R rank max HP. And then his Q, the cooldown is down by 1 second at all ranks, and the damage is up. Actually, just the max health scaling is up from 2.5% to 4%. Don't think this does. Okay, the Q doesn't feel like it does all that much, but the healing per chunk is going to be a lot because if you're in a team fight, you're picking up a lot of those things. John, you were very surprised they were buffing Zach. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like you're saying, I think the Q is like obviously nice for him. Like 1 second at each rank. It's like a little buff to this cooldown. I mean, I I mean, the Q damage actually I feel like is a little buff. I mean, it's not too bad because it's instead of 2.5% of his max health, it's 4%. And when you take into account that he has better health scaling now, and I guess like his passive healing is better, that's more impactful. And also, I think that health items are just really good right now too.
His
I mean,
jungle
just tank items are good, yeah. And so like, I think he's gonna be pretty insane,
so
honestly.
his jungle win rate last patch before this was 47.15. I'm going to ask each
Yeah,
of
he was
you.
very bad.
I'm going to ask each of you, what do you think his win rate is on this patch? Again, we're 2 days in, so limited sample
Yeah.
size, but Fenrir, what do you think his win rate is this patch?
52.5.
John, what do you think it is?
I was gonna say 52.
It is 52.38. He went up over 5
Nice.
percentage points stronger than a Mumu this patch. That is
That's insane.
fucking wild.
Yeah, I mean, like, so
And this makes sense to me. This is warranted given the changes.
yeah, like I think that it's just they overshot it a little bit. Like,
Don't give the Q buff. Just give him the passive buff. That's all you need.
I mean, I don't even know about that. He was pretty weak. Like, I
He was
guess,
weak
but
for a while.
yeah, but I don't know for how strong he was for like the longest time. I'm okay with that personally. But
I don't even think he was that strong. It was more of just a mental thing of Zach could be over this wall all the time. Like, yes, you have to pay attention to the mental the mental exertion he does, but I don't think he was actually that strong.
I just thought he always just did so much damage for a tank. In my eye, like with demonic, he just was one shot. Like if he goes dark seal and he's just not dying that much, like he just did so much damage. I don't
Yeah.
know. When Sunfire was really good, he was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree. He was really weak, like in this since like the jungle changes. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Fenrir, what do you
he's
think
really
about this?
strong.
Fenrir, what do you think about
Top
this
lane, I think,
change?
is good too.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, obviously, it's a pretty huge buff. If you went up, what'd you say, 5.5%?
5.2, but yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just huge. I think I agree with you. Maybe don't give him the Q and just throw the cell division,
Mhm.
like the increase on health, and see where that goes, and then go a little further. Seems like they gave him a little bit too much.
Agreed. Do you think that he's a good Senna comparison, or what do you think of Zach's support? No.
Well, I wouldn't like him with Senna, but I have in the past dabbled in Zach support because he fits my playstyle where I want to roam bot lane,
Sure.
and he allows me to just get mid lane even faster with his E.
Why don't you like him as a Senna pairing?
He just goes too far.
Okay. That makes sense.
I like him as a Samira pairing. Samira Zach, but I think it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
That would be good.
I haven't played it a lot, but I like playing Zach support, honestly. Like I think it's actually kind of slept on. I think it's really good I mean that's just like my opinion and also just like not that's strictly like anecdotal. Like I just think it seems really good. It's like if people just never respect vision in bot lane. Like especially in the like all the bushes. Like no one respects that like as much as they should. And I mean, if they don't, I mean, as Zach, it's so easy for you to do what you love to do. Just like come out of vision, flying out of the air and just CC them for like 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
also he has not high damage, but like when he hits all his abilities, he does a good bit of damage. You know,
Oh, he definitely
when he all
does.
into you, and then when he ignites you, like I think that combo is like really good with Samira because the all in potential is super good, and he will like just half health someone if he hits everything, you know.
Mhm.
And then Samira can just play off of her passive with his knockup because then she can get in range very easily with that. And then I mean she likes to scrap like that as well,
She
just like
does.
he does. So it's perfect. I would love to try that combo. Done.
Cool. I'll play jungle and you two can chill in the bot lane, play Samir Zach.
Yeah, I would play either. I'd play Samira or Zach.
Last thing on Zach, I think that like you said, like he likes these trading patterns and stuff. I also think that he's very good in the solo lanes too. So he can play four of the five positions well. He's actually rated the top laner right now, the single best top laner on this patch.
Yeah.
And in mid lane, it's a low enough sample size where they don't count it, but they kind of count it on u.gg. He has a 0.4% pick rate. I think 0.5 is the threshold where they start to count it, but he has a 56% win rate in mid. If you guys were watching I don't know if you were watching any of the Track the Pros, but Caps was spamming a bunch of Zach mid
Yeah.
prior to Worlds. It never got pulled out by, it might have got pulled out by, I feel like Saigon pulled it out, or like there was a couple teams that tried it. Maybe not, but
I've
Zach
I've
Zach
okay,
Mid.
sorry.
No, I was just gonna say Zach Mid was very strong and is now situationally and is now I think absurd situationally and generally
Yeah.
still very good.
What do you think it's good into? Mid.
I would say into mages that have a lot of poke. I'm thinking it's good into like Syndra because she has a lot of poke early. I would think it's fine into Victor. Immobile mages that are meant to more dominate lane but don't necessarily. Like Vex, it would be good into as well. I don't think it would be good into the Silas, into the more scrappy ones, Yasuo, Yone. I don't think it would be good into them.
Yeah.
It's more
Yeah, I think
these immobile ranges that mages you can get on top of, set up ganks for your jungler, and then out sustain their mana bar.
yeah. I think in my experience, like I've playing against Zach, man, I've played against it a little bit. It is so like just lane stack is like it's like Tom Kench. Like it's just hard to kill him. Like you just hit him with everything constantly. He just picks up his blobs. He heals back, and then it's just like, dude, this is I can't kill this guy.
Yep.
And then once he gets like his E going, he'll just go out of vision from the bush and just E you from one of the mid lane bushes. He'll go behind like one of the mid lane walls there like once he has enough points in his E and just CC you from like two screens away, and it's like, gosh, it's his damage. Like he deceptively does a lot of damage in the situations too,
Yeah, if he land
with Ignite especially.
yeah, if he hits a Q on a minion and then walks at you, you got to walk away because you'll get pulled
Yeah.
in. Or if he
Yep.
hits a Q on you, you know you're fucked because then he's gonna auto a minion and pull you in.
Because also the thing is too with him is like if he hits the E, like he's gonna win the trade because then he's gonna get his full combo off and he's gonna get all his blobs. So he's just like I feel like that would be a good like maybe solo lane for Nyla, Yumi mid, and then have Zach bot solo lane. And
Yeah,
then I mean that would just be so obnoxious late game to have Yumi and Zach and Nyla on the team.
yeah, agreed. All right, so Zeri's getting a bunch of changes too to cover the last champion, and I'm just going to summarize it. So if you want to look at all the numbers, go ahead and check it. But there is a whole bunch of base stat changes. The Q range is down, but the damage is up. The base stats are increased, right? W damage changed from magic to physical damage that you're dealing, and then there's some number changes on that as well. The E is buffed all around. So there's that. There's a bunch of buffs to mana cost. Well, mana cost is slightly changed. It's overall a buff though. There's like vision changes, damage changes, everything. The E is better now overall. I think always, and the R is now compensatorily, if that's a word, buffed for removing the damage on hit that she used to have. But now she no longer does that. So those are the Zeri changes. Who knows where Zeri's really going to land, and we could talk about that a bit. Fender, you said you played what, against her or with her? How did it go?
I played with her. It went well to start the game, but then the game just kind of devolved. So I can't really speak too much. But the early game felt a lot better than what it had been after they just like completely gutted her. So
Sure. I mean,
I'll be
her
interested to see
her pick rate went
where she
up
goes.
14%, so people are trying her again. That's what that means. And her win rate went up 7%. So she's obviously in a much better spot now. Well, time is only going to tell if she's actually good or if this is just a blip on the radar, but we will see. So yeah. There's a couple additional jungle changes. There's a few other changes that we'll run through here. Jungle companions. The companion attack damage is going. The percent bonus health is going down, but they're adding a bonus armor and bonus MR ratio. So there's that for the companion attack damage. The bonus treat gold is going down by 15, so it's 50 to 35. And then after their first evolution, jungle companions will now consume 2 bonus treats on large monster kills and receive the associated benefits rather than just 1. Thank God. We were
Yeah.
talking about this last week, and that was such bullshit that it was
Yeah.
1.
I'm so glad they did this.
So
It just
glad.
makes a lot of sense.
It does. However, it's removed the epic monsters are spooky. The 20% bonus damage provided by companions no longer works on epic monsters. That makes sense. So epic monsters, you're now going to deal the same damage always. Jungle camps as well. Gromp, the attack range is down by 25, so it has to be closer to you. Crimson Raptor attack range down by 100. It also has to be closer. That's the big raptor. Leash ranges have been offset from camp spawn location, giving more space for champs to move and kite. So instead of like Gromp being further back in the wall, it's now going to be from where it spawns, and same with blue and et cetera, et cetera. So it's giving more room for you to move and kite around because the community was kind of decrying the fact that the ability to double camp and other kite your camps was much more heavily limited than they would like. Additionally, the jungle camp experience given multiplier is up levels 1 through 9. It's up later, and at max rank at level 9, it's at 1.45 instead of 1.35 the multiplier. So I don't know the exact math on that, but it's going to give you more experience. Objective planning, they are they're going to make this less annoying, it looks like. So the vote to contest an objective will no longer automatically begin 30 seconds before an objective spawns, so you don't get that fucking pop-up 30 seconds before if your team has no interest in going for it. The vote time has been decreased from 90 seconds to 75, so it won't. If you're not going to vote, it won't sit there for an hour or for a minute and a half. And then if you click on the objective, it no longer initiates the vote. It just tells the timer in chat. So they're making it less annoying because I think I think you'd agree, guys, that it was really fucking annoying when that would just pop up on your screen every time. You'd be like, "Hey, it's a minute out from the dragon. Let's move over there," and then that thing would pop up. Or we'd be like, "We're giving this objective," and then it would pop up. It felt like a clickbait pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like, to me, in my eyes too, like, I guess one thing, I mean, this is a small thing, but like, I just feel like it sometimes just felt like another thing on the screen. You know what I mean? Like I almost feel like it should be a little bit smaller, in
Yeah.
my opinion. But yeah, it just felt a little too much sometimes.
Yep. ARAM Clash, the last Clash of the year, is going to be ARAM. It's going to be free, so check it out. I'm going to be playing it. It looks like a ton of fun. It's only going to happen for one weekend, though, which is sad because I'm unavailable on the first day. I'm only going to be available the second day. But, yep. Mythic Shop has been rotated. There is also now a rune recommender. So instead of the 5 preset pages when you start, it's just going to be a rune recommender tailored for your champion position and come with optional summoner spell recommendations, which will be adaptive to whatever champion and role you select in that game. I think it's cool, but we'll have to see if it's good because there's been a lot of examples of rune and item and recommendations that have been utter garbage, such as in the item shop and shit like that. So we'll have to see if this is actually any good. Cool idea, though. This one is big. People have been asking for this pick order swapping. So if I'm if I'm top lane first pick and then the last pick is jungle and is willing to trade, then we can request and swap pick order, so then they can just pick for themselves and we don't have to worry about trading and not having champions and stuff. This is huge, so I think that's really cool. They are making some changes to behavioral systems, and then there's some quality of life and bug updates. So the quality of life, Death Dance bleed no longer interrupts your recalls. Thank fucking god about that. That was so annoying. And then Empyrean Pike's R distortion will now be disabled when eye candy is turned off in the game options. So he would change it would make the rift look a little different and it would be distorted. But if you turn off the eye candy option in the game, it does not actually change that at all. And then the bug fixes. So we highlighted a few that we thought were notable and important to bring up. So fixed a bug that was causing Gwinsu's Rage Blade on hit damage to be counted as magic damage. That is crazy. It would be either good or bad depending on the champion. Fixed a bug that was causing Samira's EQ combo to be counted as one spell for effects like Conqueror or Electrocute, and she takes Conqueror, so that stacking that up and not getting it as fast as she should is a big deal to me, and I think that's a big deal overall. Fixed a bug where some champions' icons would briefly flicker on the minimap at their last known location when they exit Fog of War elsewhere. We've all experienced the random flickers of people on the minimap if you're paying attention to it, and hopefully this actually permanently fixes it, rather than saying they fixed the, Nunu's ghost snowballs that people still don't see and that shit still happens. Hopefully that's fully fixed. Fixed a bug where Nar's Q would veer off in an unexpected direction if a movement command was issued right when the boomerang was about to return. This is a change that I don't know how many people were aware of it until Worlds, because it happened in Worlds a couple times and was pivotal in some fights. It happened in I want to say Fnatic Cloud9 game that it was important in, and maybe another game as well. But it happened a couple times at Worlds and resulted in a champion being killed when they most likely would not have before. And then the other one, which I thought is kind of funny but pretty cool, fixed a bug that caused Program Camille's voiceovers, her voice lines, to play globally for allies and enemies if she was outside of Fog of War. So you could stand outside and then play a voice line, and then everyone would hear it, which is kind of funny. Also kind of annoying, though. Any other bug fixes that you guys wanted to go over?
Really caught my eye.
Okay. Fenner, any for you? No, cool. Upcoming skins and chromas. The skins are kind of cool. The splash arts look fucking sick, but the in-game models don't look as cool for some of them. It's a Winter Blessed Diana, Shaco, Swain, Warwick, Zillion, Zoe, and Warwick Prestige, and then Ashen Grave Knight Mordekaiser looks sick as well. If you guys haven't seen that skin, go look it up on Skin Spotlights. The Death Realm is amazing in that. It looks so sick. So there's that. But that is the whole patch. So that was almost 2 hours of straight up patch notes because we got into it pretty fast. TLDR, listen to the full episode. Anything else that we want to bring up, or are we good to wrap up, gents?
I don't think I have anything else.
Okay.
Solid.
Cool. Well, with that, thanks for listening to episode 790. Remember, if you have any feedback for us, please send that to questions at trinityforcepodcast.com, as well as posting any feedback in the feedback subthread of our Discord server. If you're interested, if you don't know where the Discord server is or you're not a part of it, it's on our website at trinityforcepodcast.com, and you can get a link to join and come join us. We have community game nights at 7:15 Eastern time every Tuesday evening. Except for there probably won't be one right after Christmas on the 27th. Maybe there will, I'm not sure. But overall, we have those every night, and they're a good blast. Sometimes we get better showings than others, but they're a good time to come in and join and meet new people and hang out with fellow league people and have a good time. Please check out our Patreon. We have some great offerings at different price points, such as early sign up for tournament, different coaching sessions, which we've started to get some more recently, some people asking for that. So if you're interested, please sign up for those. They're nowhere near as expensive than if you were to pay for a high elo or much more professional coach than us. So go check those out. Other than that, thanks for listening, everyone, or watching if you're on YouTube/Twitch, and have a good rest of your day. All right. right.